Okay, we're in the process of creating a block like this in Autodesk Fusion 360 and then making it into a 2D drawing like so. So let's get started. We can start here with creating a new design if we want, or we can just click on the tab here, which is new design as well. So let's go with that. And let's start off. So to start with a sketch. So left click here and create sketch. Your axes appear, and then you can select one of these surfaces. Let's select that bottom one, and then we'll select this surface to draw on by left clicking. And you've got a sketch palette here, which we'll talk about maybe a little bit later on. And then there's your browser down the bottom here, and you can even see a record of something that's happening down here, your timeline here. So if we're going to start off with a 2-point rectangle, and you can select that from a whole range of different things here. So let's go 2-point rectangle, start from the middle of the universe, draw it out, and we've got two different dimensions we want to create. One's highlighted, and we're going to select that one first by typing in 45mm, hit enter, and we've got another dimension over there which is set at 50, which is not quite what we want. So we can alter that dimension. We can delete the whole thing if we choose, or modify. There's lots of possibilities that we can do. I would suggest, if this ends up happening, that you go back and do to sketch, go to dimension, which you'll find down here somewhere, there, sketch dimension, and left click here, left click there, and unfortunately the dimension's already been set, which is not what we want. We should be able to highlight it and adjust it. Let's see if we can do that. Yes, there it is. And left clicking. Now left click again, and we've got a dimension we can adjust. I want it to be 110mm, so I'm clicking 110, and if I hit tab, it won't work. If I hit enter, there it is. We've got 110mm by 45, which is what I originally wanted. Okay, good to make those mistakes so you guys can see. This little button up here, you can shuffle it around and you can see things from different angles. It's probably better when you've got a 2D shape. If you get lost, just hit the top or the front and you'll come to one of those views. Next we want to extrude, so we want to create an extrude. So we're using an extrude function here, and we ask here in the extrude dialog box to select a profile. So you can hover over a profile and select it like that by left clicking, and then know that you want to create a new body. So you want to create a solid thing rather than cutting, because that's another thing you can do, intersecting. So new body, and we want to select a distance. How big do we want it to be? The distance of our extrude, we're going to make it 45, and hit, there it is, hit enter like that. Now we've got a block which is 45 by 45 by 110mm. I'm going to carve something out of that block. So to do that, I'm going to do another sketch. So I'm highlighting here by left clicking. I'm going to click sketch again, and this time I want to do a rectangle just like I did before, but I want to make it a bit different. I want this rectangle to be 32mm deep. I'm hitting the tab button now to go across to the other dimension, and I want it to be 65 in length. So hit that tab again, and I can go scroll and tab between the two dimensions, and I hit enter when I'm finished. And there it is. Now I want to extrude that little baby, so I'm going to just look at it in 3 dimensions so that I can get a feel for what's happening. So there, and I'm going to create an extrude by clicking on that icon. This time, instead of new body, I want to cut, I want to remove shapes. So I'm going to select the shape that I want to extrude. I'll do it there by left clicking, and because I have this button, I can actually grab the arrow and drag it across and do the extrude just like that, rather than having to type in distances if I don't want to. So click OK. I've extruded that out. Now next thing is I want a hole right in the middle of the top of this. So I'm going to select that surface and then create here, and this time a hole. There's the hole function. I'll left click on it, and it's placed my hole where not quite where I want it. So I'm going to select some things and set up some things. Now the hole's set to 10mm diameter, which is fine for me. the depth is set to 2 millimeters. I don't want the depth to be 2 millimeters. I want that depth to be all the distance. Now, I'm not sure what the thickness is, so I'm just going to make it a bit extra. I'm going to make it to 20 millimeters. Alright, so you can see the depth of the hole has increased. Now, I want to set the hole up in just where I want it. So, by selecting references over here, I'm going to select reference. I'll select an edge, and straight away I'm get cued to know what's the distance of that hole, the center of the hole from that edge. Now, I know the edge across is 45, so I want to make it 22.5. That's good. And I hit tab. That's all good. Now, I'm going to select another reference. This time I'm going to make it from this back edge. Now, I know that distance is 65, so I'll make it 32.5 from the back edge because I want the hole to be right in the middle. And that looks pretty good. Hit enter, and there's my hole. So I'll just show you what it looks like. There it is. There's the hole. Got my hole. Now, last thing to do is a chamfer down the back side here. So again, I'm going to do a sketch. Not a rectangle this time, so I'm going to sketch a line. And I want it to be on this face. So I'm selecting this face here, left-clicking it. I did have to do that twice. I'm going to draw a line. Now, this time I'm going to draw a line from that edge. And now you notice how I'm given a degrees. See the degree symbol down there? 135 degrees, or whatever it is. 145. Now, if I make it at 45 degrees, the dimension I'm being given, I think, is an angle from there. So there's naught, so I'm going across over here. So it's going to be 90 plus 45, which is 135. So if I want it to be, and I'll tab to get onto that section, 135 degrees, I'm going to have it as 45 degrees to the vertical. So I'm going to hit enter, because that's going to do me. Now, I could do it other ways as well, but that's just a simple way of getting 45 degrees. Now, if for some reason that doesn't suit me, I wanted to have a smaller chamfer, I can go to my favorite little dimension thing here, click on dimension, which escapes me at this point in time. There it is, dimension. And I can say, all right, well, I want that distance to be from here to there. Come on, you can do it. There to there. Drag up. Nope. Yeah, we should be able to get myself a dimension from here to there. That's 45. I don't quite want that, so I'm hitting the escape button. I want the dimension to be from this point to that point. I should select dimension again because I had to escape out of it. So go dimension again and select this point. Now I want that point. That dimension, that's the dimension that I want. Now, let's say I want that just to be 5 millimeters. I want the chamfer to be a bit smaller. I click on that, and that's not going to give me what I want. Okay. Escape out of this again, because it's not quite what I want. So I'll eliminate this dimension by highlighting, right-clicking, and hitting delete. That's gone. And I want the distance from that point to here to be 5 millimeters from this line. So I'll attempt it a different way. It's probably good to go through this and check things. Dimension from here, selecting to there. From here to there. Not quite happy, not letting me have it. Will you go to there? No. So it looks like I've got a constraint. See that constraint sitting over there? Those constraints can be problematic. If we want to remove them, there's ways of doing it, probably beyond the scope of what we need to do over here. I'm going to cancel out of that. I'll leave it for the time being because it won't give me a lot of joy in what I'm doing. And let's move on to create, see, we've got a right angle. I think I see the problem here. We've got two constraints that create it to be a right angle at 35 degrees with a certain distance. Okay. It's worth pursuing that a little bit further to see if we can generate some joy out of this. Possibly because I think I know why. The line didn't continue all the way. This line only stops there. It needs to go all the way to the edge. That's why I'm having the problems. Okay, so let's just fix this up. I'll highlight the line and I'll delete it. And I'll create a new one. So now I'll create a new line, sketch, line, start from this point here, go across here at, now we'll make it 100 tab and make it 135 degrees, like that. And now I'm going to select the point that I want it to be. I want it to be just 135 degrees there. Good. Now I should be able to escape out of this function and set up my dimension the way I want it to be. So from here, from this edge, right at the top corner, there's the point that I've set up, and here, there it is. That's the dimension I want to select. So I'm going to left click it and change that to 5 millimeters and hit enter. Great. Now I've reduced the size of my chamfer, which is what I had wanted to. Alright, that being done, let's now create another set of lines going from the top here around this way and down there, because these are going to form cutting planes. There we go. And you can see once you do that, you've got a shape that's highlighted a little bit. You'll see it change colour slightly. It's got that sort of yellowy tinge to it. It's a bounded, fully bounded shape. Now let's extrude that shape. So hit the extrude button and then highlight the shape. Now if you find that the shape isn't all that you want, that Fusion has decided that there's some other things, hit the control button and then highlight the other shape that you want to include, and you'll find them both included. Right, now select cut, because we want to cut this thing out. We don't want to create a new body, and then hover over it and drag it across, and we've cut our chamfer. Hit enter, and there's our chamfer all done. Okay, so there's our block. Now let's make it into a drawing. Off we go. We're going to do the drawing by going up to model and then go to drawing, and then from design, because we have an existing design. We'll call it my cool drawing, and click save. And we should see popping up in a minute, Fusion pop this into a drawing, but first we've got to fill out a dialog box over here. We're going to do a drawing from scratch. It's going to be new. ISO standards is cool. Millimeters is what we want. What we want, pardon me. And we're going to select A4, but this time A4 in landscape, not portrait, because it'll suit the shape of our drawing better. Click OK. And we should pop up in a drawing box, a drawing canvas. Wait while it crunches and does all its stuff. There it is. Okay, now here's our drawing view, and notice that as I move my mouse button, I've got place the base view. So it's asking me to place the base view first. So I'll do that. I'll do left click it and put it there. See on the scale here it's 1 to 2. Let's make it 1 to 1, a bit bigger. Now I can move this base view if I want to. Let's finalize this first and click OK. Now I should be able to hover over this, yes, and move it to where I want to. So I've just left clicked, hover over it and moved it, left click again, and I move the base view. Now go up here to the top left hand side. So there's the base view. Let's look at projected views. Click on projected view, and we're going to select the drawing here, and let's drag up from that drawing, and we will have ourselves a projected view. So I'm going to left click and hit enter. There's my top view based on my front view there, and I'm going to now left click on it again and hit projected view and draw across here to get a right hand side view. Hit enter, and there it is. Now if I wanted to, I could draw out here and do a project view again and come out and bring it into make it into a 3D view if I wanted to, and whack a 3D view up there if I like. You know, it's entirely up to me how I choose to organize it. Let's just hit enter. There's the 3D view if I wanted it. Let's do some dimensioning. So go to dimensions over here, and we'll select some major dimensions. Just hover over a section, left click on both and drag up, and you'll get dimensions. You can do the rest of the dimensions yourself. Probably interesting for you to do is the circular dimension. So if you hit the outside edge of that circle and drag it across, you'll get a circular dimension. If you want to do an angular dimension, then in that case go to dimensions, use the drop down measure menu and select angular dimension, and then let's say we want to do this little chamfer here. I'll select one surface, select the other surface, and then you can draw out and find yourself an angle, which is pretty cool. Okay, So you can dimension the rest of that yourself and fill in everything that you need to fill in. Keep your dimensions outside of the drawing rather than the inside, and make sure that you use a minimum amount of dimensions needed to define the object. And use all faces of the drawing if you like. We're all done. Thank you.